Hi, everybody. It's 10 a.m. and you're here for the health fair, and we are just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to log on and join us. If you're just joining us, I see that we have 55 attendees, and we are giving a couple more minutes for everyone who wants to log on and join us for this health fair hosted by the San Mateo Daily Journal. Looking forward to lots of great presentations and a wonderful discussion today about health, about San Mateo County, about what's available to all of us and what we should all be doing. I see lots of people joining us. There are 58 attendees, quite a few panelists. I'm going to give a few more minutes for people to log on and join us.
Hey there.
As I just mentioned, this is being produced by the San Mateo Daily Journal, celebrating their 20-year anniversary. We are so fortunate and really lucky to have such a great paper informing us about events going on at City Hall and really everywhere. In an era when local newspapers are struggling, we're truly blessed to have the San Mateo Daily Journal here in San Mateo County. One of the other things that the Daily Journal does is they host events just like this, our health fair, they have a job fair. There's a number of other events that they help to sponsor and support. And just like the rest of us, where my kids are going to school on Zoom, the Daily Journal has, over the last few years, made the excellent transition to the internet. The digital version of the Daily Journal is fantastic. It's also another great opportunity for people who want to advertise or provide sponsorships to do that with the online version of the Daily Journal. Today's health fair will cover the gamut of health, from COVID to staying healthy at home, mental health, volunteering, and having a healthy planet. We have 11 local nonprofit organizations presenting today, and we thank each and every one of them for their support. Our exhibitors today are going to include Kaminar, Actera, Anthem, the Center for Independence of Individuals with Disabilities, SF Hep B Free, HIP Housing, Stanford Patient Experience, California Relay, Meraki Real Estate, Peninsula Family Service, the Ombudsman Services of San Mateo County. And today you will get to learn about each of these organizations, what they do, how to contact and support them, and how they contribute to our healthy community. Our presenting speaker will be Bill Graham, president of Dignity Health Sequoia Hospital. And we thank Mr. Graham for joining us. He will speak at around 10:20. My name is Joe Goethals. I am the mayor of San Mateo. For many of you, I am your mayor. I have lived my whole life in San Mateo. I was born and raised here. I went to Santa Clara University, where I studied microbiology. I was an emergency medical technician, so I provided EMT services. I did research at Santa Clara, research in public health, and then got my master's degree in public health. A few years went by, and then I came back and served on the Peninsula Healthcare District Board of Directors. Again, serving our district, our community, and making sure that we have everything that we need when it comes to public health and public health services. I'm looking now, and it seems that we have about 81 attendees. Great to see everyone here. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're just joining us, again, this is the health fair hosted by the San Mateo Daily Journal. We are all fortunate to be here, and we have a number of speakers from different nonprofit organizations here in San Mateo County, and we're talking about health this morning, getting ready for our first presentation by Kaminar. Our first presentation is by Kaminar, and the CEO will present 6 ways to stay emotionally healthy and improve immune functioning during uncertain times. That will be our first presentation. Welcome, everyone. We're over 100 participants at this point. Thank you all for joining us. If you want to chime in the chat, please feel free. I see some people are already chatting. You can also raise your hand, and you can ask questions. Mark, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we are looking forward to your presentation. Kaminar is such an important part of our community, and we appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for inviting me. And I want to thank the San Mateo Daily Journal for sponsoring this. And Mayor, I did not know you had a public health background. So clearly that's great preparation for this time that we're in. I want to take a few minutes to talk about what we've been in actually for the last 6 months, what it has been to be in shelter in place, and then shelter in place in which we're pulsing back and forth. Okay, I'm getting, let me adjust my camera. I just got pulsing back and forth between opening, and I'll just give an example of how I've experienced. We were obviously in shelter in place through the beginning of the pandemic, and then some things opened up here in San Mateo. We were able to open up gyms, and I was able to go to the gym, and then it closed down. And I'm referencing that in that all the things that are opening and closing and pulsing are things that may allow us to pursue our health, our mental health, be connected to people, participate in community, be able to go to your faith congregation. All of those things are really important facets of maintaining healthy mental health. And in the face of all of that being restricted, people have had a variety of emotions. Some of them are anxiety, anger, depression. We know in particular that anxiety disorders and depression, people are reporting in surveys that that's up about 10%. People have a continued, I would say this is particularly true of seniors, sense of isolation. People experience agitation, numbness, and then there's multiple feelings that you can identify. And then there are symptoms that are showing up like loss of appetite or extreme appetite. A lot of people are experiencing changes in their sleep pattern. Many people are experiencing insomnia. And all of those are normal. Those are all normal to be going through a period like this. And you may cycle through all of them in one day. All of those emotions, all of those symptoms may be still occurring daily. And then if you have children, you have multiple challenges because obviously many parents are now trying to work from home and spend 4, 5, 6 hours a day teaching their children. And so I want to focus on children for a minute here because that's really, in some ways, children and adolescents are the group that are experiencing probably the most, I would say this in a very measured way, but harm from the situation that we're in. And in particular, I think for kids, adults can talk about what we're feeling our isolation, our sense of being cut off from our family and friends. The kids have difficulty expressing their emotions because in some ways there's a very crude way in which they do that. But for the more complicated ones, that may be difficult. So I think this is really an important time for parents to check in with their kids and maybe even model what some of the difficult feelings are. For instance, someone saying, I miss seeing grandpa. How are you doing? What are you feeling? As a way of getting their kids to express what's going on with them. And then I want to talk about adolescence for a second also, and that this period developmentally is such a critical time for adolescents to be around their peers. This is the time where we all understand adolescents are developing an independent identity separate from their parents and need to be not just through social media, but in physical proximity, being able to talk to their friends, exchange feelings with their friends, talk about what they're facing in life with their friends. And by not having a lot of physical proximity, that makes that much more complicated. So I also want to acknowledge too that from the literature, there's a short-term effect of quarantine, and then there's a longer-term effect. And in the mental health literature, it suggests that actually when we're going through a period like this, that people often have shorter-term symptoms that after a year turn into longer-term symptoms. And those in particular are anxiety and depression. So this is a time, if you're feeling any of those, or changes in your sleep pattern, changes in your use of alcohol or drugs, to think about reaching out to a professional, because we know a vaccine may still be 3, 4, 6 months away, and that we're in this kind of emotional environment for the short-term foreseeable future. So I want to talk about what you can do to take care of yourself during this time, that there are things that we can all do to improve our mental health and to improve our immune functioning. And why I'm mentioning the immune functioning is we know that if your immune system is stronger when you get exposed to COVID-19, you may not get infected, or you may have a less severe course of infection in terms of the presentation of symptoms. So here's my 6 things that I want to recommend everyone consider doing every day. One is supportive relationships. It's very important for you to be in contact with your family and your friends, be it through social distancing events in your backyard, through FaceTime. This is an important time to reinforce and appreciate the bonds that you have and to express gratitude to the people in your life. That will improve your sense of reducing your anxiety and your sense of isolation. The other thing that's very important to do is to exercise 60 minutes a day. I know that may seem hard, so maybe just start with 30 minutes a day. We know that the effects of that on your immune system, as well as your endocrinological system, of making you feel more optimistic, making you feel more hopeful, is clearly related to exercise of 30 to 60 minutes a day. Healthy sleeping is really important now too. I know a lot of people are experiencing versions of insomnia. You should improve your sleep environment by making the room that you sleep in dark and quiet. Don't look at screens for 2 hours before, and to try and get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Nutrition is also very important. I know this is a time where a lot of people may be tempted to have that pint of ice cream, maybe drawn to comfort food. I know for me, my draw is the tortilla chips. I can eat a huge bag of tortilla chips, and this is a time to stay focused on, we know, what serves your body well in terms of nutrition. Lean meats, fish, legumes, vegetables, fruits, whole grains. Concentrate on improving your diet as a way of stabilizing your blood sugar and improving your body's ability to fight off infections. Then there's mental health support, as I mentioned earlier. Do not hesitate if the symptoms are lasting longer than usual. If you are feeling severely isolated, if you've lost hope, If you are having difficulty sleeping, if you're finding yourself drinking too many glasses of wine or alcohol, this is a time to reach out to a mental health professional. And lastly, mindfulness. Fortunately, in the Bay Area, we have a great culture of mindfulness that's come to our workplaces and to our schools. We need to make sure that we bring it home. So 20 minutes a day of focusing on your breath, or if you're a member of a faith community, praying. Any way in which you can still your mind and focus on your breathing for 20 minutes is certain to improve your endocrinological functioning and will bring you a sense of peace and help you restore your immune functioning. So those are the top 6 things that I recommend. And be realistic about the future. You know, I think we all go through periods where we're wildly optimistic, where there may be a news article about the success of vaccine trials. Even with the vaccine and treatment, we know that the long-term economic effects will be significant. So we know that when the pandemic, so in that sense, continue to practice these health behaviors, focus on the present, and find gratitude for what you have now. So with that, I want to thank you again, Mayor, for sponsoring this, and for the San Mateo Daily Journal for arranging this for us all.
Mark, that was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for those 6 things that are not only good during a pandemic and during 2020, which has been an absolutely crazy year, but those are great pieces of advice for all time. You weren't at my house last night. You didn't see the tortilla chips that we were.
No, but they would be gone if I was there immediately. So yeah.
I don't know that we left any for you. So
Okay.
it's something that we have to strive for every day: the exercise, the mindfulness, the gratitude. Great pieces of advice. Are you over at your offices on 25th right now?
I am, yes, and we're
That's
open.
fantastic.
So we're seeing clients here. So please feel to reach out to us.
You have been such a great partner to the community. We love everything that Caminard does. Mark, thank you for being with us here today. It was a pleasure, and I have all of them written down. We'll go back to those 6 things, I'm sure.
Thanks, Mayor Goodalls. Thank you very much.
Take care. It was my pleasure.